This is part 2 of how to DJ on a laptop. Step-by-step guide which you've already given an introduction in part 1. Now we are into the part 2. DJing on a laptop, irrespective of whether you're a beginner or a pro DJ, can be very complex at first if you don't know exactly what to do. But trust me, in this video I'm going to be giving you some key concepts that you need to take note of, especially if you're a beginner. Even as a pro DJ, if you don't really focus, you might get lost on the way. So we have talked about the user interface in part 1 and some key things, so do well to check it. I'm going to leave it the link in the description box of this video. Let's go over now to the key things that you need to be aware of. But before we do that, I'm going to be doing a short demo now for you guys to take note of. This is a track on deck 1 and this is another track on deck 2. So we are going to start this deck and then we are going to scratch this one and we are going to drop it and you are going to see how it will flow. Let's go over to it now and see.
You give me life, it is so loud. Can't be your love taking over.
So you've seen how I just transition from this one to this one and then I just play around with and then I break. Yes. How long do you think it can take you to get to this level? Let's get to see the steps that are involved. Now, DJing can be very interesting as I've said it, but when you get it wrong from the beginning, you are going to be making a whole mess of a lot of things. The first thing you need to understand here is music are made up of elements. These elements are mostly beat, keyboard sound, instrumentals, sound from different instruments, keyboard melodies, and vocals. So in comprising this, one of the key elements that is always driving this is what we call beat, which is the beat per minute that we all know, which is exactly this particular feature that you see here. Look at it here. See it at the top here on both deck. So every DJ software has this feature, irrespective of Serato or even your deck controller. This is the feature that takes care of counting these beats 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me run a simple demo on this particular deck now so that you get to see how this sound is being made. So let me reduce the sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is it. But you need to master how to do this counting, because if you are not very careful, you are going to be starting the round 1 on the wrong place. I have a detailed guide on this. So, and you need to be aware of the fact that music are in different genres. So because music are in different genres, even though they follow the same structure, they can come in form of Afrobeat, hip hop, and the rest of other sound that you can think of, reggae. And this individual sound, even amapiano, this individual music genre has unique way in which they are being attended, they are being designed, which is what we call the music structure. Even though every music has an intro and the main song and then the outro, the main body, sorry, and then the outro. But you need to be very conscious of these individual differences, because everyone has a range in which they are being produced. The BPM follows a particular range. Some can be between 80 to 100, some between 100 to 120 and 120 to even 3, especially hip hop. Most hip hop have higher beat per minute and blues have low beat per minute. Then amapiano and the general Afrobeat have mid tempo, which is mostly between 80 to 120. I also noticed that a lot of people are watching me from China, from India, so keep up. This concept, that is an indication that what I'm explaining here cut across every country in the world. Every type of music you are going to be mixing in. So the next thing you need to understand here is, while you are learning how to count this beat, though I have detailed video on this channel where I've already broken these things down, you need to learn how to set cue point. Come to this particular point. Let me turn to this track again for you. Let me go to this scratch wave. By the time I take it to the first point, you see the beginning. This is where I set the cue point. Look at it.
On a good day,
so you can see how the whole stuff is. This one is on the first cue point and you can see the sharp point where I put the cue point. So you need to master any sudden switch like this will temper with the performance of this cue point. Any move like this can temper with the performance of this cue point. So this is something that you need to take your time to practice and to learn how to set this cue point. I have a much more detailed video guide on that. So In setting this cue point, the essence of setting this cue point is for you to ensure that you have a perfect starting of a song and be able to connect these tracks together while mixing. Then by the time you have that well arranged, then you build a pattern of how you start this song. Starting this song sometimes required some few things that you need to be aware of, because it depends on what you want to achieve. Sometimes you want to start the song by just dropping it, just the way I just started like this.
You give me life, it is so loud.
Or you want to start it with a scratch, normal baby scratch. Sorry, I'm not showing my keyboard. This is it.
You give me life.
So this is another part where you are starting the song with a scratch, and there are situations where the deck that is already playing, you want to start it with, you want to blend it by scratching this one, just like what you saw me do in the beginning of this video. Let me just do a short demo for you guys to see at this level. So you can see another form of scratching and dropping, very interesting, very powerful. So the next item you look at is ending the song. In some situations, there are ways where you want to end the song by scratching and dropping whatsoever means. And then in doing that, we have one powerful concept when it comes to mixing song, which is beat matching. Yes, beat matching is very, very important for you to learn, because most DJs these days, they think beat matching is just pressing that sync button and then everything. See, it doesn't work that way, because there are some elements that are in this respective song during the process of production that no matter how you tap on the sync button, it cannot work the way you expect. Just like in my own case, I have this shift tab that takes care of the synchronization. So except if you are playing the same song, even if you are playing the same song, if you start them wrongly, it cannot synchronize. I have a much more detailed video guide where I break this down. This is just to give you an overview of what you should be aware of, because when you are syncing, you are trying to make sure that this BPM and this BPM are in the same level, because you are trying to create a uniformity between the movement of the two sound. For those who attend any parade drill, you get to understand that the beauty of parade is the synchronization of your steps and your body movement. That is why it follows the same concept with the BPM. That is why the drummer, during the process of parade, when the person is playing the drum, you need to follow the steps in which the drum is being played. Even when it comes to switching steps, where you move from slow march to quick march or quick march to slow march, all these things are very, very intense, especially for those who have a military background. You get to appreciate these things very, very well, or the police background. So that is it for this. Then we'll move further to another key point. So by the time you have this perfect movement of trying to drop the song, having them synchronize, you have the concept of what we talk about we'll talk about crossfading. Crossfading is the process of moving from a deck that is playing. Let's say, for example, this one that is playing from here, which initially the crossfader is, to this other one, which is this is the new one. And there are other things that you need to be aware of, which is going to be your EQs. This one's your high frequency, your mid frequency, your low frequency. I have broken this one too in much more detail in this particular channel. Take your time and go through it. This is the only channel you get the very best if you are really serious about DJing. So then you also have your filters, where you take about cutting down these sounds irrespective of how they go. I wouldn't want to go so long because I don't want the video to be too long and boring. So you look at your cue transitioning and the rest of them. I've talked about cue, your crossfader, and then you have talk about your harmonic keys. Look at this particular number that you're seeing here is harmonic key. It's not the key of a song. I've broken down harmonic key in this channel already. So let's go further now. The next thing you look at is scratches. Yes, by the time you practice how to drop, the essence of practicing how to drop before thinking of scratches is, if you don't know exactly the point in which you are dropping at, it's going to be very difficult for you to make a kind of scratch that will make sense, because scratches can be very, very complex. This is where you talk about baby scratches, irrespective of controller you're using, baby scratch, stop scratch, or stop scratch. Then we'll talk about transformer scratches. To make this things easier is the reason why I have my keyboard mapping setup that I'm making it available for most of you guys. It costs you just a little token for you to get these things, and I'm sure if you are really serious about learning, these things will really go a long way. You see, the beauty of learning is not when you are just doing things anyhow. It's when you have a complete guide like this that puts you on the right path, and this is where your success and failure start. Because one of the biggest misleading information on the internet space is they try to make it look like virtual DJ is all about installing virtual DJ, going to settings here. By the time you go to settings here, you go to controller here, irrespective of the one you're using. Then you come here and begin to type all sorts of codes in the name of you are doing mapping. Then before you know it, you have spent the past 6 months, the next 6 months, the next 7 months, the next 1 year of your life typing all sorts of trash that you don't know. Then after that, by the time you see, mental exhaustion is very powerful. It has a way of manifesting. By the time you do this for a long period of time, you will now begin to have what we call mental exhaustion. Then you cannot give your very best. Then at the end of the day, you will now start saying that DJs are not being valued. You will now end up with going to collect a plate of food. Then you start screaming, this thing is not working, this is not working. Because you left the main thing that you are supposed to focus on and doing something different. This is where a lot of people fail in this life. They fail to have a clear path to follow. And that is what I'm doing on this channel. I'm giving you a clear path to follow. So the decision of whether you want to follow it or not is left for you. If you pick the wrong path, the consequences will be waiting for you. It's just like telling yourself that you don't want to read or you don't want to buy a textbook, but you want to score A in that particular course. Don't worry, you will suffer the consequences at the long run. So that is it. So in doing these scratches, we have the baby scratch. Let me do it here. Let me go to my first deck, this particular deck. So the baby scratch is something like this. This is the normal one. Then you have the next one, which is the stop scratch. You see only the front. Sorry, I'm not showing my keyboard. The baby scratch, which is this. Then you have your stop scratch. Then combining them. Then in trying to combining them and starting, that is a combination. All these things, you still have a lot of work to do to master these things. They are not things you will learn even in a year. Let me tell you the truth. So the earlier you invest be smart enough, get this set up and move to the next stage, or you suffer the consequences in the long run. When others will be displaying their talent, you'll be saying about you wish, you know. Then you talk about the transformer scratches. Let's go further now. When we talk about the transformer scratches, this is where we talk about this particular concept where you see me. So this is it for this. The beauty of it is by the time you are playing it on the song, that is when you get to appreciate it when you are running it. So I've already have a much more detailed guide where I break some of these things down. So by the time you are done with scratches, you begin to look at finger drumming. The finger drumming can come off in form of on beat or off beat. I have a much more detailed video on guide. By the time you are getting the setup comes with those guides for you. So I wouldn't be breaking down that much. And for those who want to have a feel of what the finger drumming is about, look at it. Sorry, let me show my keyboard. Okay. So there are ways in which you build these things, you practice, and you play them on the mix while mixing. So by the time you get to master these things, the next thing you begin to look at is your your DJ setup. Your DJ setup, your connection of your amplifiers, your connection of your controllers, whatsoever controller, DJ, CDJ. See, these things are just for flexibility, depending on the ones you can lay your hands on. There is no one that I will say that you have to get this one. If you don't get this one, you're not yet a DJ. Even with as ordinary as your laptop that I'm showing you, if you know what you're doing, you can shake the crowd. That is a bitter truth. Because nobody is going to ask you how expensive your controller is. But how good are you in putting that device into use? That is the key thing that matters. That is why I keep saying the DJ profession is actually a very skilled profession. It's bigger than what most people think. So that is it. You have your controller, mixers, sound management. By the time you talk about your sound management, we're talking about moving your equipment from the events, how you set them up, how you arrange your wires to ensure that everything works smoothly, your power system and the rest of them. Then your mixing session, when you're mixing, you're going to be working with a host of people like the MCs and a host of other, for those who will be into event planning, into events and a host of other. Then while you're doing most of this, your mixing session, you have your crowd management, How do you interact with your crowd? Because you cannot be doing things alone. You cannot be playing songs that you feel it should be your own song, because every event have their own type of music. If you are playing at a wedding, it has its own arrangement. For a party, for a birthday, for a morning ceremony, if you're a radio DJ, the kind of music you play in the morning is not the same kind of music you play in the night. So all these things you need to be aware of. Then we have, this is where we talk about your playlist when you are coming to perform at events. Yes, you need to build a playlist. Then, for example, let me come here. This is where you begin to talk about your playlist. When you come to this part of the virtual DJ, this is where you access all your various folder. In my own case, I have this particular folder. Let me scroll down. If you want to zoom this particular part of your virtual DJ, you see this alphabet. When you click it, you see, click this other one, is going down. Click it, it goes up. Click it, it's going down. So this is where you zoom, access your folder. Maybe you want to use cloud storage, you can set them for here, or whatever device you want to use. Those things are just for flexibility. Like in my own case, I have a couple of hard drive where I put a couple of my mixes and my songs. Then let me show you one particular folder that I have here. If I come to this 147, you can see I have a couple of folders here: Afrobeat, Amapiano, Hip Hop, Old School, Reggae. So these folders, I already have it. For those who are interested, you can check the link I have provided. Then you get to see your tracks. This is where you build your playlist. And in building your playlist, you have this particular feature, which by the time you click here, you see you select all the relevant feature and the groupings that you want. Maybe you want your BPM difference to appear, your key difference, bitrate, years, and the rest of them. I have a much more detailed video. I break this down. Then this is to ensure that anyone you select here is to ensure that you have this feature. These features are set available here. When you click BPM, it's going to arrange the BPM of the song in ascending or descending order. And if you want to analyze all the track, by the time you select one song, then you do Ctrl A, then you right click, you click analyze, file operation. By the time you come to this file operation, or you select analyze for BPM, it's going to analyze the track for you to give you the relevant information, especially if you are putting the track newly. Then when you go further now at this level, you will now come to, this is where another extra work comes to play. Talk about your branding. Yes, your career path. This is where you now begin to work extra hard. What exactly do you want to achieve as a DJ? Because you must have a clear path of where you are heading to. Do you want to be a club DJ, or do you want to be a radio DJ, or do you want to be an event DJ, a mobile DJ, a street DJ? There are a whole lot of other ones. I wouldn't want to go into mentioning them. So in doing this is where you begin to talk about your DJ logo, your social media presence, your building your network on social media platform, connecting with other DJs, connecting with event planners, and a host of other ones. Then when you are doing this, you need to be aware of the final stage, which is marketing. Because in building your brand as a DJ, you need to put in a lot of effort in this. This is where a lot of people begin to fail, because when it gets to this stage, they can no longer afford to push further. Once you cannot push further, then just forget it. You are going to remain there at that position until you finally pack out. Because the bitter truth there is, in the business world, people will not patronize who they don't know. So at least, even if they don't know you in person, they need to hear about you. And you have to be very good to prove that, yes, you are actually that person that they are hearing about. Just like what you see on this channel. It's possible for you to hear about me now because you are seeing what I'm doing here. So I'm going to be putting this into a much more detailed guide that you have access to. I'm going to be breaking more of these for you guys. So I believe you learned something tangible in this particular video above what you have been seeing on this internet space. So the overall goal is, after all this, you need to invest a lot into practicing. Yes, because if you don't practice, let me tell you, you are going to just end up doing all sorts of nonsense. And trust me, event planners, owners of events want to have their audience entertained. They are not just coming there to be a spectator. So in entertainment, a lot of things are involved. There are a lot of other acts that you need to learn. This is why I keep advising DJs that rather than just go into DJing directly, I always advise you get something little you are starting from by the side, so that you can be getting little change while you are building your career path on this. Because the bitter truth there is, these things are going to cost you money. Even as time goes on, there are advanced courses that I'm going to be making available in this channel that you can lay your hands on, and those things will cost you money. Yes, that is the bitter truth. Success is not cheap. That is the bitter truth. Anybody that tells you success is cheap, then the person is lying to you. It's going to cost you your money, your time, and your effort. And taking a wise decision will really help you when you can follow that path. Because if you are waiting for the day somebody will wake up, appear from nowhere to change your life, I'm sorry, it will never happen. A lot of DJs have started it, they have given up. Some have even bought equipment because they don't have access to the kind of information I'm giving here. So they thought DJing is just about buying equipment. They bought the equipment, they cannot cook. They have to start looking for how to sell it. So I believe this information will be a long way to help you in taking the much more better decision about what you are trying to get into. Don't be intimidated. It takes time, but let me tell you, if you can focus just like the breakdown I give you here, you'll be very fine. Trust me. I have a lot of testimonies of DJs who have given this guide and it's working for them. I have some who took what I'm posting here on this channel as a joke and they are receiving the result now as a joke. So life is not for jokers. You take it or you leave it. You still face it in whatsoever way you decide. So see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to keep a date. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to always check back. And then I'm going to be leaving the link to my resources, all that I'm using in this channel at the description box of this video. You can lay your hands on and I believe you get to learn more. So it's easier you start even on a low key than wait for the day that you have that money to start on a big style, because nobody becomes successful by starting on a big style except you already have the platform set up for you. So congratulations once again. I believe you are actually on the right path. So see you guys in my next video once again.